Good morning. Welcome to your read aloud for your Earth and Environmental Science final. So I'm going to read the questions to you. Your answer choices might not be in the same area. I hope that is okay. If you have issues, let me know. But your questions should be the same. Question number 1. Some constellations are more prominent in the night sky of North Carolina in winter, while other constellations are more prominent in the night sky in the summer. Which best explains why this occurs? Because of Earth revolving around the sun, because of the stars revolving around Earth, or because of Earth's rotations on its axis? Question number 2. Which best describes how energy from the sun helps to maintain life on Earth? It heats Earth's atmosphere and surface, which helps stabilize temperatures on Earth and creates environments more favorable for life to exist. It forms the ocean's waters and the oxygen in the atmosphere that organisms need for life's functions. Or option 3, it is absorbed by Earth's mantle, which drives plate tectonics to form new land masses for organisms to live. Question number 3, which of these statements best explains why we have seasons on Earth? Earth's tilt of the axis, the rotation of the Earth, or the presence of the moon? Question number 4. What is nuclear fusion? Is it one atom breaking into two? Is it the process that causes the tides on Earth? Or is it two atoms joining? Question number 5. What do we call a complete rotation of Earth around its axis? 1 year, 1 lunar month, or 1 day? Question number 6. Which of these is not one of Kepler's 3 laws? Matter cannot be created or destroyed. The closer a planet to the sun in orbit, the faster it will go. Or the planets orbit in ellipses. Question number 7. When the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, what season is happening? Summer, fall, or spring? Question number 8. Which is not a part of the scientific method? Cooperation with others, test hypothesis, or research? Question number 9. Which is a word that we use to describe a scientific finding that has support from experiments? Note, this can change based on new evidence. Okay, question number 9. Which is a word that we use to describe a scientific finding that has support from experiments? Note, this thing can be changed based on new evidence. Is it a law, a theory, or a method? Question number 10. Which prefix means water? A, inter, or hydro? Question 11. Which prefix means earth? Geo, therm, hydro? Question number 12. This is a diagram of a soil texture triangle. Farmers can use this chart to identify the types of soil found on their land and to determine the likelihood of erosion and other important factors. What type of soil does a farmer have if the soil contains 40% sand, 40% silt, and 20% clay? Is it sand, loam, or clay? Question number 13. Which geographic feature forms as a result of continental-continental convergent plates? Volcanic islands, mountain ranges, rift valleys? Question 14. What would be most effective in minimizing the potential damage caused by an earthquake? Building structures that withstand ground vibrations, increasing the amount of concrete during road building, or requiring the recycling of metal and wood products. Remember, the most effective. Question 15. Which theory says that the crust is split into plates that move due to mantle convection currents? Tectonic plate theory, law of conservation of mass, law of superposition? Question 16. Which of the following best explains why Earth is tectonically active? Earth's solid surface layer rotates more rapidly than the layer beneath it. Earth's solid layer sits on a layer of semi-molten rock that slowly flows. Or areas of Earth's solid surface layer are under great pressure from ocean water. Question 17. Which is one way poor use of fertilizers in agriculture can affect the environment? Is it A, it can increase the ability of many species to find suitable habitats? Is it B, it can cause pollution in water of lakes and rivers? Or C, it can reduce the amount of sediment in the local waterways? Question 18. Which is an effect of deforestation? Is it a decrease in the amount of water on Earth? Is it a decrease in biodiversity? Or is it a decrease in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? Question 19. Two countries share the Caribbean islands of Hispaniola, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. The island is naturally a rainforest. The hillsides of the Dominican Republic are still heavily forested. Most of Haiti's trees have been cut down. The soil on the hillsides of the Dominican Republic is deep and rich, but the soil on the hillsides of Haiti is so thin and depleted. The poor, thin soil makes raising crops difficult. Food shortages often happen. What natural conditions in Haiti combined with deforestation would increase erosion? Mild climate and proximity to the ocean and frequent heavy rains and steep hillsides. Which natural conditions in Haiti combine with deforestation to increase erosion? This question is asking you, what are the two things that are increasing erosion here in Haiti, combined with the fact that they tore all their trees down? Question 20. Which will cause an increase in runoff and infiltration in an area? Excessive rain, a drought, digging wells. Question 21. In the hydrological cycle, or the water cycle, which process contributes to a decrease in the groundwater levels? Pollution of surface water, increasing runoff from melting snow, or drought and overuse of wells? Warm water, you're going to fill in the blank here. Warm water, does it sink or float in room temperature water? Question 23. Cold water, does it sink or float in room temperature water? Cold salty water, does it sink or float in room temperature water? Question 24. What drives surface currents? Is it wind or density? Question 25. How do the ocean currents affect coastal climates? It doesn't. It brings saltier rain than normal. It brings warmer than normal temperatures given the latitude. Or it brings lots of precipitation. Question 26. Which is one way surface water may become groundwater? Precipitation, transpiration, or infiltration? Question 27. The diagram shows an image of the major ocean currents. Which phenomenon is likely responsible for the current's circulation patterns? Temperature differences, density differences, or the Coriolis effect? Remember, the Coriolis effect is the spinning winds. Question 28. Which statement describes most groundwater? Groundwater is isolated from surface water and moves on its own cycle. Groundwater is found in the space between rocks, gravel, and sand. Or groundwater is sequestered below the surface for years or decades at a time. Question 29. What is a possible consequence of the destruction of a marsh, which by the way is a wetland? A decrease in filtration of water, increase in habitats for organisms, or a decrease in flooding? Question 30. Which type of pollution can you point to where it came from? Congeniality, point source pollutant, non-point source pollutant? Question 31. How will the presence of a power plant burning fossil fuels most likely affect the water cycle? Sulfur and nitrogen emissions will dissolve in rainwater to form acid rain. Runoff containing emissions will cause very large algae blooms in ponds, or emissions will decrease the amount of precipitation. Question 32. Which best explains why population growth can result in a water shortage and rationing in certain areas? Lake water is reserved for recreation, aquifers recharge slowly, or tall buildings impede the development of rain clouds or stop. Question 33. Which is most often a result of warm air mass moving over cool air mass? Is it a stationary front, cold front, warm front, or occluded front? Question 34. Which is a major source of air pollution? Is it farms raising large number of animals such as cows and pigs, building dams for hydroelectric plants, planting more trees in forest areas? Question 35. Auroras, or aurora borealis, or the northern lights, occur when Earth's magnetosphere traps high-energy particles in which region of the atmosphere? So this question is asking you, what level of the atmosphere do the northern lights happen in? Is it the thermosphere, the troposphere, or the stratosphere? Question 36. A student reads the following statement. The presence of greenhouse gases in Earth's atmosphere is important to Earth's ability to support life. How would Earth be different without greenhouse gases in its atmosphere? Would we have more solar radiation reflected back into space? More heat from solar radiation would escape into space, or more heat from solar radiation would be stored in Earth's core? Question 37. Which is likely to cause changes in global climate? Least likely. Which is least likely to cause changes in global climate? A tsunami, heat from a solar flare, El Niño or La Niña, volcanic eruptions? Question 38. What will most likely influence global sea levels? An increase in earthquake events around the globe, an increase in cyclone events around the globe, or an increase in global temperatures? Question 39. Joan picked up a brochure on North Carolina and learned these facts listed below. It may experience either hot, humid summer conditions or more moderate summer conditions. The annual rainfall across the state ranges from 37 to 90 inches. Which aspect of North Carolina was Joan focusing on from the brochure? The weather, the geography, or the climate? Temperature affects the development of sea turtle eggs. Eggs that are incubated at a warmer temperature are more likely to become female. Eggs that are incubated at a colder temperature are more likely to become males. How would higher atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations most likely affect the sea turtle population? Earth's climate would be cooler, so the percentage of females would increase. Earth's climate would be warmer, so the percentage of female turtles would decrease. Earth's climate would be warmer, so the percentage of Earth's female turtles would increase. Question 41. Two farmers decide to plant fewer types of corn in their fields. How will changing the biodiversity of the corn crop affect the fields? Predator species that eat corn will lose their food source. Planting fewer types of corn will make the corn more vulnerable to plant pathogens or diseases. Planting fewer types of corn will add more nutrients to the soil. Question 42. If fossil fuel usage were unlimited, what effect would this have on Earth's biosphere? It would create, option A, it would create a more nutrient-rich soil, which would increase the biodiversity on Earth. It would produce warmer climates, which would cause fewer plants to live in the polar regions, or it would pollute natural habitats, which would decrease the biodiversity on Earth. Question 43. How could a global decrease in plant diversity affect the biosphere? A. It could cause an increase in the amount of oxygen gas available for plants and animals. B. It could cause a decrease in animal populations in the biosphere. Or C. It could cause a decrease in the amount of water available for plants and animals. Question 44. Which describes an effect of acid rain? Is it A, draining a wetland for the development of a new park? B, reducing the amount of pesticides and fertilizers used? C, having a controlled burn to remove the undergrowth of the forest? What would most likely happen if North Carolina increased implementation of wind energy? Investment costs to taxpayers would decrease. The energy output would be consistent because wind patterns are always predictable.